Hi, I'm Ron, and whether you're watching this in a morning on a morning or sometime during a break or maybe even one evening, I want to welcome you and be one of those who welcomes you to a new year, 2024. Hey, as we leave a year behind and look forward to, I trust, look forward to all that's ahead in a new year. How are you feeling? How are you feeling about what's ahead in this new year? I think probably if we were sitting together in the same room, I'm sure the responses to that question would be all over the map. I can imagine hearing responses like, how am I feeling? I'm a little bit frustrated, or I'm excited, anxious, hopeful, expectant. Another response that seems to be a response with a lot of folks is, I'm tired. In fact, Business Week commissioned a study that found the number one response to the question, how are you doing, was, I'm tired. Maybe that's you. Maybe feeling overworked, and further behind. So I want to invite you to sit with me for a few minutes and let's consider some truths. Truths that have potential to change our lives, our mindset, our perspective, our thinking about what's ahead in this coming year. The Apostle Paul was a man who had reason to feel anxious, tired, frustrated, defeated, lonely, and a whole host of other emotions we spend a lot of time trying to avoid. Here's what he said in 2 Corinthians chapter 4, beginning with verse 16. Therefore, we do not lose heart, but though our outer man is decaying, yet our inner man is being renewed day by day. For momentary light affliction is producing for us an eternal weight of glory far beyond comparison. While we look not at the things which are seen, but at the things which are not seen. For the things which are seen are temporal, but the things which are not seen are eternal. Now, I want to call a timeout right here, like timeout, seriously. And take a moment and ask you to really consider that scripture that you saw, or let me put it on the screen. That scripture that is before you, that you heard, read, and that is before you on the screen. Thinking about what it means to change our mindset, what it means to change our thinking, what it means to have a change of perspective from those things which are really the average day-to-day stuff of life to things which are more eternal in nature. Moving our focus, moving your thoughts, moving your perspective off the stuff that is constantly being fed to you by your favorite news channel. How might your life be different if you could learn to fix your eyes on the things that are eternal, not the temporal, not the circumstantial stuff of life? I want to suggest 3 actions that every follower of Jesus can apply to life. The first one is pray. Prayer is one of the greatest ways for us to be more eternally minded than temporary minded. Colossians chapter 3, verses 1 and 2 says this, therefore, or since we have, and let me get to that verse. Verses 1 and 2. If we then have been raised up with Christ, keep seeking the things above, where Christ is seated at the right hand of God. Set your mind on the things above, not on things that are on the earth. So again, we have this instruction that since we've been raised with Christ, since we have eternity ahead of us, let's begin to think and let's begin to have our perspective and our mindset shaped not by the things that are around us, not by our circumstances, not by the things that are fed to us again through media, but have our minds, have our perspective shaped, have our mindset that is shaped and influenced by the things of God. Set your mind on things above, not on earthly things. I would like to suggest to you that if you've never considered prayer's most personal and beneficial aspect, would you take a moment right now and do that? What really is prayer's most personal and beneficial aspect? I'd like to suggest to you that the most personal and beneficial aspect of prayer is all about connecting with God. An old song puts it well. It says it like this: "The things of this earth grow strangely dim in the light of your glory and grace." The title of the song says it all. The title of the song, "Turn Your Eyes Upon Jesus." One aspect of prayer is that prayer connects us with God. And as a result of being connected with God and connected with His heart, prayer keeps us grounded in heavenly realities. It's this aspect of prayer that makes it possible to dump the stuff of this life and to find a new attitude, a new mind, a new heart. Many of the Psalms show us how this works. Many of the Psalms begin with the writer lamenting his situation, lamenting his circumstances in life. Many of the Psalms begin with the psalmist full of doubt and discouragement and fear, anxious, and he's holding an attitude, or should I say that the attitudes or the mindset is holding him. An attitude or a mindset colored by anger, resentment, anxiousness. And he's upset. He's upset with the people around him. He's upset about his circumstances. But how many of you know that the beginning doesn't have to be the end? As the psalmist connects with God, something shifts. As a result, he begins to declare, "O Lord, you alone are my God." And things like, "I worship you. There is none like you." So, what happened? Somewhere from the beginning of that psalm to the end of that psalm, his focus shifted. His thinking changed. His priorities changed. Instead of focusing on all the stuff around him that was wrong, he started focusing on the stuff of heaven, the realities of God. And as a result, his attitude changed. The point is clear. This happened in the presence of God as he connected with God in prayer. So, I'd like to suggest that we make it our goal in 2024 that prayer is going to be a priority. Prayer that connects us personally, intimately with God, so that we're more eternally focused than temporary focused. The second thing is this: serve. Did you know that serving is one of the greatest ways that you can be eternally minded? When you're serving others and doing it from the right motivations, it is incredibly rewarding. Find your place and serve others with love, and you'll find yourself making a significant contribution. Consider the instruction that we find in 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 10. As each of you has received a special gift, employ it in serving one another as good stewards of the manifold grace of God. Now let me say this as it relates to serving others. Motivation matters. And because motivation matters, make sure that your motivation is rightly aligned with God's purposes. Let me offer a word of caution. Don't serve for fear that if you don't, God's going to get you. Having said that, I believe there's a higher and healthier motivation. The real motivation is because you can do something with your life and your talents and your gifts and your skills that really matters and counts for eternity. It seems to me that those who serve think less about their own issues, even though they're still there. Why is that? I think it's because they have something in their life that outweighs the stuff of life. When I think of those who bear witness to this truth, I think of my friend Kelly. Kelly is an amazing woman, a loving wife to Jay, a fountain of faith to all who know her. She is one of the most positive and kind persons I have ever met. Kelly also has cancer. Her cancer battle has been waging for over 2 years. She's been given a 17% chance of living. Kelly says this: we all have something, some ailment, some affliction. Even with the afflictions, what's more important? Focusing on what's wrong with me, or focusing on how I can help lighten the wrong in someone else's life? Wow. What a remarkable mindset. What a remarkable perspective from someone who has cancer. Her mindset is grounded in her faith. And her faith is grounded in her walk with Jesus and her abiding trust in His Word. Kelly has found new ways to serve others in seasons when she could not risk sickness from social gatherings, picking up someone else's germs. She is adamant when she declares, there is no shortage of needs. I can help others with phone calls, text, or notes. First thing that I want to suggest that you make a priority for 2024 is pray. The kind of prayer that connects you with the heart of God. The second thing, serve. So with prayer and serving as priorities for 2024, I want to offer a third, and that is share Christ. Share Christ. You know, if you really believe that heaven and hell are realities, I think you'll agree that we all have to step it up in 2024 and do whatever we can to bring our friends, our families, our acquaintances, our co-workers to Jesus. A few years ago, Derek came to church for the first time. This once addicted tattoo artist, 11 years of opioids and heroin addiction, showed up in our church with his wife. A simple invitation by one of the men in the church led to them showing up one Sunday. Derek's past life didn't intersect with church except for an occasional funeral or wedding. Derek and Kelly experienced a warm welcome and a genuine acceptance when they showed up. And this was different from what they were expecting, because Derek and Kelly, well, they're inked up all over. And they know what it is to be the object of people's stares, or maybe even sensing others' judgment because of how they appear. But they were welcomed and they were accepted. And from that point, they began attending every weekend. Derek began serving on the traffic team, and he found relationships with other men. Derek stepped into other opportunities to serve, mostly anything that involved a hammer and power tools. In Derek's own words, this was the season, to quote him, when I began to ask a lot of questions about God. As those questions were answered, There was a day when Derek prayed with one of our pastors as Derek gave his life to God. As the tears began to flow in his testimony, he continues, everyone has a Derek in their life that might need to be saved. There have been so many times that I should not be alive today. I shouldn't have the family that I do, the friends that I have, but Jesus saved me, and I'm here today. I'm alive, changed by Christ. Last week, I sat with my son-in-law, Nathan, and one of the questions that he asked was, what do you think is going to happen in this next year? We talked about the current political climate, the moral collapse of our culture, and other relevant issues of our time. And then the conversation shifted to the opportunities each of us has as followers of Jesus. Opportunities to be a person of reason, a person of compassion, of love, as we seek to cast off judgment and ridicule, and in its place bring encouragement and love. Engaging the lost and disenfranchised people that the church might have rejected. But how do we do this? Again, in prayer, we connect with the heart of God. And as a result, our perspective changes. Our mindset changes. We're not so much focused on what the stuff is around us and even what our circumstances might be. Yes, we have the opportunity in prayer to offload that onto God and to pick up His strength, to lay down our weakness and to pick up His strength, but mostly to connect with His person. We serve. We serve those who are often the most difficult and the most different. And we share Christ. We share Christ through our own personal story of how He has changed our life, how we have found purpose, a higher purpose than anything that this world can offer us. The real Jesus, we share the real Jesus who declared His purpose is to seek and save the lost. So my friends, as we begin a new year, I trust you'll carry it forward. Carry it forward with new priorities or priorities that you just reaffirm in your own life. Prayer, serving others, sharing Jesus. It is something that is within all of our ability to do.